All right, so the objectives of today's Get Started with Quill webinar include a brief introduction of our 6 learning tools and a demo of our most popular tool, Quill Connect. Afterwards, we'll cover the more technical aspects of getting started with Quill, like account setup and finding and assigning diagnostics and activities. So before we jump into the content, here are some quick notes and reminders. I encourage you to ask questions using the Q&A feature on Zoom. So this will allow us to keep track of all the questions that are coming in. Throughout the webinar, I will make space for answering those questions. And once again, our amazing teammates, Natalie and Amanda, are also here to be hopping in and helping with those questions that might pop up while I'm presenting. And quick reminder, if you're not familiar with Zoom, the Q&A icon can be found at the bottom or the side of your Zoom window. In addition, feel free to use the chat to share your ideas and comments. And please make sure that your chat is set to go to everyone so that all of us are able to see your great ideas. And lastly, we will be using polls during today's session so that I can better gauge your needs and interests. So speaking of which, let's go ahead and hop into our poll. All right. So on your screen, you should see a quick question that just popped up. And I'm just going to ask you to take a moment to answer that multiple choice question that just appeared in your Zoom window. This will help me learn a little bit more about why you're here. So your responses to this question can help us concentrate on your specific needs in today's session. And once again, that question is, what is one goal that you have for using Quill with your students this year? Also, quick note, you can select more than one. Wow, seeing lots of answers coming in already. This is fantastic. Maybe your answers are going to be to develop complex writing sentence skills. Maybe you're also just not sure yet, and that's totally fine as well. Awesome. I'll wait another couple seconds to see if any other responses come in. I love seeing this data in real time. Fantastic. All right. So it looks like the majority of responses were to strengthen students' grammar and writing mechanics. Beautiful. You are in the right place. Awesome. So as I mentioned before, this session is really geared toward Quill beginners. So if you are someone who's brand new to Quill or you haven't had a chance to use Quill extensively, then you are in the right place. And I see that based on the responses in that poll, there's lots of goals that you guys have that we'll be discussing deeper in our session today. So I hope that you will find a lot of these tips to be helpful. All right, so let's get started by answering the big question, what is Quill and how does it aim to support you and your student writers? So Quill's goal is to build student writing fluency from the very foundation of long form writing, which is the sentence. Strong sentences lead to strong paragraphs, which lead to strong compositions. And a focus on the sentence, not just about correcting errors or even the longer piece of writing. It's about helping students unlock clarity, build confidence, and deepen their critical thinking skills. So that sentence level work strengthens the critical thinking muscle by regularly charging students to carefully think about how they express their ideas. And even though we're just focused on getting started today, anchoring everything that you do on the platform into this goal will ensure that your approach is relevant, connected, and purposeful. And we know the challenge. Teaching writing well can feel and be incredibly time consuming. And Quill is designed to be a powerful partner for you in 3 key ways. So, first, we give students more practice. Using Quill for just 15 to 20 minutes a week can provide students with practice on over 200 sentences a year. So that's like getting an extra 10 pages of writing practice with targeted feedback. Next, the practice they're receiving also provides high quality feedback that's immediate, targeted, scaffolded, and transferable. So you'll see shortly how this is a little bit different than some other tools that offer feedback. And lastly, because Quill's automated this process of feedback, we're amplifying your instruction, freeing up your time to circulate and provide targeted support as needed during practice. Quill gives you more time and more tools to support every single writer in your room at the point of practice. Now let's take a high-level look at Quill's 6 learning tools. So Quill offers 6 distinct learning tools, all aimed at supporting students with high-quality writing and reading practice. So this includes diagnostics. So diagnostics are there to help you identify specific grammar areas of focus for your students and set each student on a personalized path of practice. Quill also offers 4 independent tools. We have Grammar, Connect, Proofreader, and Reading for Evidence, all supporting students to learn to write, providing personalized feedback during practice designed to encourage in-the-moment skill transfer through revision. The independent tools focus on basic mechanics, sentence combining, proofreading, and Reading for Evidence is specifically geared towards students that are in grades 8 and higher. And this assists students with writing to learn, so sharpening their reading comprehension and sentence construction skills simultaneously. And finally, our lessons tool, which provides you with a synchronous grammar lesson. Fully prepared materials are also here so that you can use our pre-made lesson plan to engage your students. And all of these tools work together to help you provide the just right and the push practice for your students. All right. We're going to take a much closer look now at one of our activity types, and that's going to be Quill Connect. So we really want to see Quill's superpower here, which is the targeted writing feedback in action. And Connect is also the most popular tool on Quill with over 500 activities to choose from. In a Quill Connect activity, students are using the evidence-based practice of combining sentences. So they will see 2 simple sentences and have to combine those sentences using specific strategies to write a more sophisticated and complex sentence. So let's go ahead and take a look at one of our favorite Connect activities, which is but and so. So here we are in our preview view of a Quill Connect activity. So students will see the writing skill that they'll practice. And in this case, that's going to be using but and so to combine sentences. They'll also see examples using both of those conjunctions. Now, when students click the begin button, they'll see the first prompt in the activity. And in this prompt, we see 2 simple sentences. Tornadoes do not last long. The damage they cause can be serious. In addition, we see the 2 joining words and some guidance about what to do. So I'm going to go ahead and type a response here. And note, I am going to make some mistakes. So I'm going to type tornadoes, spelling that incorrectly, do not last long. So the damage they cause can be serious. All right. So I've misspelled tornadoes and I've used the incorrect conjunction. When I click this Get Feedback button, the feedback is first targeted at the writing skill of using the correct conjunction. So Quill is first looking to see if students use that correct joining word and if they combine the sentences correctly. So let me use that feedback to rewrite my sentence with the correct conjunction. Tornadoes do not last long, but the damage they cause can be serious. All right, now when I select Get Feedback, I see that I have misspelled tornadoes. So let me rewrite my response here one last time. Let's fix that tornado spelling. And now when we select Get Feedback, we see that's a strong sentence. And after students reach a strong or optimal response for a prompt in a Quill Connect activity, they'll be able to click the Next button here to see some popular strong responses for the prompt. So this shows students that there's not just one way to combine simple sentences. And then they'll be able to click Next question to move on to the next prompt. All right, and as a reminder, For Connect and also for grammar activities, we have the following structures that are on the screen here in place to encourage students to write strong sentences. So students will see 5 attempts to get to an optimal response and receive feedback with each attempt. If they do not provide the correct response after a 5th attempt, they will see a multiple choice question. Also, we do not allow students to copy and paste in Quill. Students are required to type their responses. Students are also prompted for skill and non-skill related errors like we just saw, starting with the writing skill and then followed by things like mechanics, spelling, etc. And then finally, we have the rules page at the start of the activity, which we highly recommend teachers leverage and review with students before sending them off independently. All right. So let's move on now to the technical processes of signing up for a Quill account. That's going to be creating classes. We'll also talk about rostering students and finding and assigning activities. So to begin signing up for a Quill account, you will navigate to Quill.org, click the sign up button in the upper right corner of the page, and click the K-12 teacher button on the subsequent page. Now on this page, you will see 3 options that you can use to sign up for a Quill account. You can choose to sign up with Google if you have a Google account. This option also lets you import classes and students from Google Classroom into Quill. You can choose to sign up with Clever if you and your students use Clever. This option lets you import your classes and students from Clever into Quill. And if you don't use Google or Clever, you can create a Quill account manually by entering your name, email, and a password. And when signing up for Quill, you'll be prompted to connect your account to your school. And while this is optional, it is really helpful if later, say, your school purchases a school or district premium subscription, because this will allow you to connect your account and automatically receive premium access should your school upgrade to premium. And for those of you who already have a Quill account, you can retroactively connect your Quill account to your school by going to the My Account page in the Home tab in your Quill account. And on the My Account page, you would click Select School in the General section to locate your school and Quill system. Okay, now let's talk about creating classes and rostering students. So to create classes and roster students, you will navigate to the Manage Classes page. If you choose to sign up for a Quill account with your Google account, you will see an Import from Google Classroom button in the upper right corner of the Manage Classes page. And clicking this button will allow you to select the classes that you would like to import from Google Classroom into Quill. When you import classes from Google Classroom, Quill will automatically create accounts for your students that are linked to their Google accounts. This means that to log into their Quill accounts, your students will navigate to Quill.org, click the Login button, and click the Login with Google button, and enter their Google account login information. If you choose to sign up for a Quill account with your Clever account, you'll see an Import from Clever button in the upper right corner of the Manage Classes page. And then clicking this button will allow you to select the classes that you would like to import from Clever into Quill. And we like to remind teachers to keep in mind that in Clever, you may have other class sections that are unrelated, such as social studies or math. So just be sure to only import the classes that you'll be using with Quill. And after importing your classes from Clever, your students' Quill accounts that are linked to their Clever accounts will automatically be created. And this means that to log into their Quill accounts, your students can either click the Quill icon in the Clever application library, or they can navigate to Quill.org, click the Login button, and click the Login with Clever button on the subsequent page and enter that Clever account login information. And if you do not use Google Classroom or Clever, or you do not want to use your Google Classroom or Clever information, you can absolutely sign up and create classes manually and manually add your students. So we'll take a quick look at what that will look like. So let's take a peek at our demo account here. So From your teacher dashboard, we're looking at our home page here. We would select the Manage Classes tab. And from Manage Classes, you can press the Create a Class button. Now, on the form that appears, you can enter a class name. I'm just going to say test class for our purposes today. You'll be able to select your grade. So I'll go ahead and say ninth grade. And I just want to make a quick note that selecting your grade is not going to limit the availability of activities. You'll still have access to all of our activities in our activity library. And then you also have the ability to reset the class code on your page. So this class code here is a unique code that students will use to join the class. Then after you click the Create Class Next button, whoops, I've already entered this name. I'll say Test Class 4. Let's hope I haven't said that one yet. Beautiful. All right. So on the next page, we have a couple of options here. You can create Quill accounts for your students by entering their names. So what that will do will be, it'll generate a unique username and password for each student. And this is recommended for younger students who may need help creating accounts. And if you create accounts for your students, you can click the Download PDF button, which will appear. Or under the Manage Classes tab, you can also download login instructions there. If alternatively, you would like for students to create their own accounts, you can select the Students Create Their Own Accounts button. You would click the Copy link, and you would share that with students to sign up. So this is a popular option when teachers might post this to a Google Classroom, for instance, or another LMS. All right. So I understand that's been a lot of information in a short amount of time. So I'm going to pause for a moment to see if we have any new questions coming into the Q&A. I also want to thank Amanda and Natalie for being such big helps with that thus far. All right. So let's see. Jeff says, what is the benefit of selecting a grade for the class? I'm teaching a combo class. Would it be better to create two Quill classes with corresponding grade levels for that combo class based on their grade levels? Ooh, that's a really interesting question. Jeff, I would say if you have this kind of combination class, which has kind of different grade levels here, you can just simply choose either grade. So if say it's like an eighth and ninth grade split, either is totally fine. This just helps us get like a little bit more information about the demographics that we're supporting and the needs that we have here on Quill. So selecting either grade is completely fine there. Awesome. And please keep those questions coming. Amanda and Natalie will be happy to continue to support. And in the interest of time, I'm going to continue on with the presentation, and we will certainly answer all of those questions by the end of our presentation as well. All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit about assigning activities. So we have 3 different assignment pathways within Quill. And we're first going to take a look at our most popular pathway, which is the diagnostic and practice recommendations. So this is going to be a high impact, low touch option. And Quill Diagnostics assess students' understanding of a distinct, roughly 5 to 7 grammar concepts, which are different depending on the grade level that you choose. And then this leads to targeted recommended practice. After students work through their practice, you can assign a growth assessment to measure students' skill development and celebrate their progress. Next, we have featured activity packs. So this is going to be a little bit more of, I'd say, like a medium touch. So these are going to be some pre-made packs from Quill's content team that are already aligned to different skills or themes or preparation for writing genres to save you some time of hunting for activities. And finally, we have teacher curated packs. So this is via the activity library, and this is the highest touch option that we have. So you can use the activity library that has access to over 1,000 Quill activities, and that library is always continuing to grow. And here you'll be able to find activities that address your own observations and planning. So we'll dig into that in just a little bit. But for now, let's begin by talking a little more about our Quill diagnostics. So Quill's diagnostic tool is the most popular way for teachers to get started. We offer different diagnostics for different grammar skills in a starter, intermediate, advanced progression. We also have a version for L students and one developed in partnership with the College Board. Now, these are not tied to grade levels. Teachers can choose the best fit for their students based on skill needs. And except for the college board version, each diagnostic has baseline and growth additions to track progress before and after skill practice. And during these diagnostics, students will answer about 20 questions per assessment, covering roughly that 5 to 7 core skills. After students finish their diagnostic, Quill suggests practice packs, usually a mix of grammar and connect sentence activities based on their results. And you can assign everything all at once or stagger them so that students focus on one pack at a time and unlock the next only after finishing the first. And staggering is a really great way to keep students from feeling overwhelmed and to help them build their skills step by step. So let's take a quick look at how to assign these practice recommendations. So back over in our demo, we're going to navigate to View Reports, and we're going to select Diagnostic Reports and My Diagnostics. Awesome. And we're going to select the diagnostic in question and press the View Results and Recommendations button. Awesome. Now, in this view, we're going to see here that there's several of these sub-reports within our diagnostics, ranging from a high-level overview of your class summary to student results, where you get more of a sense of students' proficiency in various skills. And we're going to focus on this practice recommendation sub-report because this is our actionable report here. So as we scroll down, we're able to see the practice recommendations that are indicated by the check marks. And we can assign those by pressing that Assign Activities Pack button. And I'd also like to mention one more thing briefly while we're here, is that after students work through these practice recommendations, they can be assigned a growth assessment, and you can populate a second set of reports showing comparative class-wide data. So that would be in this growth diagnostic section. We can see that kind of before and after with the pre and the post assessment. And then you can get some more specific student specific results so that you can track individual skill growth. And this is meant to help teachers decide which students are ready to move on, which skills to continue to focus on, and who might need some more intensive remediation. Awesome. So now that we've taken a look at that diagnostic pathway, we're going to talk about the featured activity packs. So this is going to be an excellent choice when you want something that is a prepackaged material, kind of similar to those diagnostic recommendations, but you want the skills to be focused on maybe a specific theme or grammar skill that's not in the diagnostic flow. So let's take a look at how to find featured activity packs in our demo account. Let's pop back over here. And all of our pathways can be found by selecting the Assign Activities tab at the top of your teacher homepage. And next we'll navigate to the Browse Featured Activities Pack card. So these are going to come organized by independent packs, as well as whole class lessons and independent practice. But for our purpose, we're going to press the independent pack to explore. And in this view, we're able to use filters to narrow our results for things like grade level range or different activity types. So if you have not yet had a chance to explore these pre-made activity packs, I highly recommend checking out featured activity packs. Awesome. So now we're going to take a look at our more precision-based curating pathway here. So this is going to be assigning activities directly from the activity library. And exploring the activity library is a great option for curating your activity packs, featuring content that you want to see organized strategically. So let's go back to our demo, and we can get to the activity library by once again navigating to Assign Activities. And this time we're going to press the Explore All Activities in our activity library card. Awesome. Now, in our activity library, there are a lot of different things that we can do here. And the first that I want to show you is under activities, we can filter by independent activity type, or say I wanted to do a whole class lesson, I could press that whole class lesson filter to narrow the results on the right-hand side. You can also mix and match the filters that you use here as well. And let's say that I found an activity that I wanted to save for later. There's going to be this kind of bookmark type icon that I can press. And when I press save, underneath activities, you'll see this saved icon. And if you check that, you will be brought to the activity that was previously saved, where you could select and assign if you wanted to. So I'm going to deselect that for now to talk about a couple more options here. Let me refresh that page. There we go. Beautiful. All right. So as a reminder, our filters are going to be our best friend. So I would say a great place to focus would be grade level range, readability, but my favorite personally is the concepts filter. So you can use this to filter out content for, say, something like capitalization, or you could simply type that into the search field as well. Both of these options absolutely work. So let's say I want to assign an activity on, let's say, complex sentences. So I can search complex sentences, and then I can see the type of activities that come up. I see compound sentences, complex sentences, beautiful. So I see this one here. Maybe I want to preview this activity by pressing the preview hyperlink, and that will give me a sense of what I can expect students to see here. And after I've previewed, maybe I say, you know what, I'm ready to assign. I'm going to press that check mark next to the activity and press assign, which will lead to the review and assign page. Here, I can add a name for the activity. Under step 2, I can add a publish date as well as a due date by selecting the calendar. By default, these are going to say right away, and due dates are also optional. And then finally, in step 3, I can select the students that I want to be assigned the activity. And this is going to be a really great place where you can differentiate here. So you can do so by selecting your classroom and using the drop-down arrow underneath students, and say Ken and Jason do not need to cover these skills as they've already demonstrated mastery. I would simply deselect those names, and once I've confirmed my choices, I would press the Assign Pack to Classes button. All right, let's go back to those slides. Before I continue, I just want to acknowledge the time. I do see that we are a little bit over our 4:30 mark. So if any teachers need to drop out early, that is a-okay. The recording will be sent to you, so that is not a problem. And for the rest of you who may have the time, please feel free to join on and stay with us for about the next probably 5 to 10 minutes. Thank you all so much. Whoops. Let's go back here for a moment. Beautiful. All right. So now that we've talked about those different assignment pathways, let's talk about how we can track progress in Quill. So in the View Reports tab, you will have access to several different reports allowing you to track student progress. And in just a moment, I'm going to pop back into our demo account to highlight the activity summary. So this is going to be a really easy way to check on activity completion and proficiency at a glance. And the activity summary report is going to be one of those reports that, frankly, you're going to use the most often. This is going to give you that high-level view of your students' progress and understanding for assigned activities. so that you can dig deeper from there. So in our dashboards, we're going to go to View Reports, and we're going to select the Activity Summary Report. And let's choose a different class, Quill Classroom, beautiful. We've got some data there that we could take a look at. So each student has activity squares, we'll call them. So those would be each of these icons that I'm hovering over. And this shows a variety of several different things, including their assigned works. We see that these icons indicate the different activity types, from Quill Diagnostics to Lessons, Connect, Proofreader, Grammar, and Reading for Evidence. And you'll notice that the activity squares also have different colors, and there's the key at the top of the page that will help you understand what each of those means. So our green is frequently demonstrated skill. So this would be between 83 and 100% mastery. Orange is 32 to 82%. Red would be 0 to 32%. Blue, completed but unscored. Light blue, being started but not finished. And gray, being not started. So there's going to be some filters here at the top of your page that can be very helpful to help you narrow your results by class, by activity pack, and you can also filter by date. So for example, let's take a look at Ken here. So I can see how many activities they've completed. I can get a high level sense of their score patterns and maybe areas for growth. Like I see this red that tells me I need to spend some time and attention here. And if I notice a low score, I might encourage this student to replay this activity for more practice. And replayed activities will show a numbered circle in a corner of one of these squares. And unfortunately, we don't have an example like that to look at here. But if you see a student has replayed an activity, there will be a number corner such as 2 or 3 if the student has replayed it 2 or 3 times. Also, hovering over a square gives you a quick performance summary. And if you click the square, you'll be led to a much more detailed report, and this is the activity analysis for the student, which will give you some more detail. So I highly recommend digging into that when you have some time. All right, now let's talk about the student dashboard view. So let's go ahead quickly back to our demo, and we're going to first navigate to Manage Classes. We're going to select our class in question, and let's see, 0 students here. Let's go to Quill Classroom. Aha. So once you have a class with students rostered, you can press this View as Student button, and this is going to allow you to see exactly what the student sees. So if I click Ken, I'll click the View button to see their dashboard, and we're going to first be led to the classes page. So you would see any class that the student is in, and if the student is not yet enrolled in a class, they will see a space to add a class code to join a class. Now, clicking a class will open up the classwork page where students will see a summary of their overall progress at the top of the page, including how many activities they've completed, how much time they've spent, and can filter this by week, month, school year, and by day. As you scroll down, students will see 2 different tabs here, your to-do activities, as well as your completed activities. And as a note, students can replay activities by simply going to completed activities and pressing that replay button. Awesome. And before we wrap up, let's quickly recap today's key takeaways. There's been a lot of information, so thank you for bearing with us. So the first thing is our mission. Quill's here to help teachers build confident, capable writers with our free research-backed tools. Second, our tools. From our diagnostics to targeted grammar, sentence, and evidence-based writing activities, Quill gives you everything that you need to support skill growth. Third, getting started. So setting up your account with your classes, your students, takes just minutes. And finally, assignment pathways. So use our recommendations. You can create your own or build skill progressions to meet your students exactly where they are. And with that, you are ready to put Quill into action in your classroom.